Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, guys. Celtic Warband here, and today I am bringing you another subscribers battle replay. This one was again submitted by James the Great, so thanks very much for submitting it. It was a pretty good 2 versus 2, and it is on the flat grassy plains, as you can see. And we're just zoomed in on some of the Lancers for the Langobards. Just an epic shot to start this battle. So yeah, let's go ahead and zoom out of them, take a look at the army comps, and then we'll get the battle underway. So looking at the Langobards first, so they've got a good mix of infantry and cav. I think the rules for James the Great's battle is usually no art, max 6 cav plus the general. So it looks like we got some noble Germanic horsemen, we got some Germanic lancers, so a mix of melee and shock cav. Then we've got some Godin's chosen over here. We got some Godin's men. And we got some scaled clubmen over here as well. We'll take a look at these guys. Looking pretty elite. And he does have a lot of archers. He's got some Germanic archers, so I think he has like 6 units of them. And we've got the redoubtable chieftain as the general's bodyguard over here. So just stretching down the line of the Langobards. Yeah, so it looks like that's pretty much his army. He's got a couple units of Germanic spearmen as well. And then we move on to the Burgundians. So they're bringing a lot of Germanic pikes, about 3 units. He's got some scattershot hurlers. Then you can see moving up, we've got some Burgundian axemen, very heavy axe units. James the Great does favor heavy axes in his army composition, and then he's got a lot of these royal lancers here, so we'll kind of pan down them as well, taking a look at them. So yeah, really nice cav. If you get a good couple volleys off of the archers, I think that they do suffer from like a low missile chance block. So if you can get a couple of volleys in, that might actually help you in the cav battle later on. But let's take a look at the enemies, and it's actually two players playing as the Saxons. So we'll kind of look at their army all lumped together. So we've got some heroic cavalry over here, got some elite Nordic spearmen. I was about to say spearmasters. And we've got some Nordic bows in the front. We've got some Gesithas, I believe is how you say that. More Nordic spearmasters. Got some Saxon lancers in the distance behind there. Nordic axe warriors. Looks like Nordic raid leader, so an axe unit for the general. And I think this is the other player over here. So he's got some Nordic jabs. He's got some Nordic bows. Nordic axe warband. Elite Duguth spearmen. I think these are the most... one of the most elite, I think, of the spears that the Saxons can bring. So they are looking pretty good. I think the Germanic spear masters are the most elite, but he's got some elite Nordic warriors. That's a good sturdy choice for the Saxons. Chieftain with Jethus or Jedrick. Or is it Jedrick? And then he's got all his cav over here. Saxon lancers and Saxon horse lords, or Nordic horse lords. So yeah, the battle is just about underway. And it's going to be over quite quickly. It's only about 5 minutes long. And as for the man count, looks like 5,440 for the allies and 5,640 for the enemies. So it's a little bit in the Saxons' favor. But I believe the battle does start here because I did watch it beforehand. So we'll go ahead and switch this on normal stance. If I zoom forwards, you can see that there's kind of a skirmish thing going on between the Burgundians and the Saxon player over on that flank. But I believe the main infantry clash does start over here. And it looks like the Langobards are actually targeting the Saxon lances. That's a good target because they do have a low missile chance block. Oops, sorry. But yeah, here comes the infantry, just right away is going to start pouring in onto these scaled clubmen in the front lines. Let's see if we can get a good shot of them charging in from ground level. Oh, you can see that the war dog's actually moving forwards, but they're going to be intercepted by the cav over there. They were going for some archers that looked like they were going to get caught out, but the cav actually saved them on that one. So it looks like we're both going to be moving forwards. Ooh, the Pila being thrown in. Very nice. So there we go. The battle is begun just like that. Very, very quick. Not much time for the skirmish phase at all. So let's kind of zoom out and see what's going on. So if we take a look at this side, so the main infantry grind is underway. Some of the cav is actually flanking, trying to flank around, but the Germanic lancers are actually blocking the way on that flank. The archers also getting some good hits on those Saxon lancers. Look how depleted they are already before they even make it into battle. That is tough to see. The Saxon lances, they are a pretty expensive unit, so we've got some spears and axes moving into the battle as well. Charging into the Godensmen. But yeah, moving on over here, you can see that James the Great is pushing forwards, and I think that the Saxon player may not have been paying attention because he gets a nice charge into all of these archers with his royal lancers. So really going to do a number on all his skirmishers, and then it actually looks like he just pushes right on through into this unit of Gethisis, I think. I don't know if it's Gethisis or Jethisis or whatever, but yeah, looks like he's charging straight in, and he actually did a decent amount of damage into the front lines here. That's the thing, if you can get a good charge on infantry if they're not in shield wall, they're just gonna decimate them, so it's possible that they were not in shield wall at all. Yeah, and it looks like we've got some axes moving forwards here. Yeah, I'm going to zoom in for this animation for sure. Oh no, he's pulled his axes out. That is not a good idea. Because he's pulled his spears out of that shield wall formation, because that's going to open it up for the axes to get their insane charge bonus off. Yeah, just cutting them down. Oh, that is tough to see. Should have left them in that shield wall. They may have lasted a little bit longer. But I'm not going to tarry too long on that flank because the battle is very short. So you can see that most of the infantry is just broken from that initial cav charge. If we kind of zoom in over here, looks like the pikes are going to be engaged. But I'm mainly focusing on the Langobards fight over here for the next couple minutes. He's having a hard time, but he is containing this flank, especially with so many of the heavy axes in. Looks like he's had to commit his general, the redoubtable chieftain. Yeah, it looks like they're fighting with like baseball bats or something. I guess the Langobards favoring the club. Looks like they're probably dipped in molten steel or something and then let to cool. That would definitely crush your skull. And you can see that one of the Saxon warlords is over here. He is engaged in the battle. It's a little bit dangerous too because there's some of Godin's chosen and the noble Germanic horsemen are kind of flanking around. So that leaves an opening to be able to flank around the general. Let's head on over to this flank, where you can see that a lot of the infantry is just being cleaned up on this flank by the Burgundians. The heroic cavalry and against the royal lancers. Yeah, he's got a good formation here with the pikes mixed in with the heavy axes. So that kind of gives the axes the melee defense that they need and protects them kind of like a suit of armor, because that's something that they lack, and then they just allow the axes to go to work with their insane melee damage and armor-piercing damage. Getting some kills on these horsemen, probably. Alright, let's take a look at other spots of the battle. Yeah, so this flank has pretty much been cleaned up. The general did break on this flank, but he has returned. But most of the fighting over here is still going on for the Langobards. They're having a tougher time, but I don't know if the Saxon players kind of invested more men into this flank than into James the Great's flank. Got some nice dueling going on here. Kind of trading sword on shield for sword on shield. But I believe that this is the other general. So he's kind of caught in between the two sides here. You can see that his men are pretty much surrounded.
We have gained the upper hand.
I'm not exactly sure which one is the general, but I am quite sure that he's not going to be escaping the battlefield this day. And I'm probably just going to leave it on slow motion for the rest of the battle, guys, just because it is such a short one. Attila battles are notorious for just being over so quickly, and Warhammer battles even more so. But yeah, there goes one of the generals. Over here, though, it looks like the Redoubtable Chiefman is having a hard time against all of these Saxons. He is quite depleted. Yeah, he's also surrounded. He needs to have the Burgundians come to his aid quickly if he's to get out of here alive. And it looks like it's just that. You can see just the Saxons moving, the Burgundians moving forwards to aid their allies. Look at the size difference on those shields, too. Saxons, which is massive circular shields. Oh, looks like they got a nice charge in behind with the cav. Yeah, Germanic Lancers just shattering the rest of the men on this flank. And I think that is pretty much everybody, except for the general. The general over here, chieftain with Gedrick. He is still fighting on, so we'll just finish the remainder of this battle here. You can see the circle getting tighter and tighter. I wish I knew which one was the general here. Oh, I'll just zoom in. Yeah, the Godin's warriors of Langobard, they're just poking and prodding, just tightening the circle more and more and more. I can imagine the panic that would set in as you kind of, feel your back up against your own men, realizing that you're surrounded. But there we go, a decisive victory. Let's end the replay, take a look at the results. So yes, James the Great and Max Laser, very good on the win. Both of these people do send me in battle replays quite often, so thank you very much to both of you. And I do have a battle from Max Laser that I will be putting up probably tomorrow. But Innocent and OBCH0319, thank you very much for taking part. They did an excellent job as well. Looking at James the Great's army, obviously performing well with his axes, he usually does. Slinger's doing well, and his cav doing excellent. 338, 238, 199. And I think a lot of those kills were just from charging headlong right into the infantry. And Max Laser with the Langobards, performing excellently. Godin's Chosen, 286. Scaled Clubman, 332. 400 by the Godin's men. I think that's the most I've ever seen on an infantry unit, period. I've seen higher on artillery, but not on a single infantry unit. That is insane. MVPs of the day there. But his cav doing well, and this unit over here too. So I guess if you're the Langobards, man, bring these Godinsmen. I don't know how expensive they are, but I'd imagine they'd be kind of middle tier, because I think Godin's Chosen is the more expensive one. Taking a look at Innocent, his infantry not faring the best. His Nordic bow is doing okay, but his cav also not doing well. And the other Saxon player, his infantry did a little bit better. I believe this was the side against the Langobards, and this was the side against the Burgundians. So yeah, you can see that a lot of their infantry didn't get many kills. I think that was because of the insane cav charge. And on this side, the kills were also pretty low because a lot of this cav was depleted by archer fire before they even made it in to battle. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. It was an epic battle. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you'd like to see more content in the future. And as always, I will see you in the next one.